Good evening, good evening, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Coaching Corner. I am so happy to have you guys, to be here with you guys this evening. So, as always, share this live right now with as many parents as you can, parents and teachers. And as I turn to my left, I am going live on my Instagram. All right. So I can go live and then also share. Let me see, turn this way, go live. Put my glasses on because you guys know I need my glasses so that I can see. I need my glasses on so I can see. Well, not so I can see. I can see without my glasses. I need my glasses for reading. That's what I need my glasses for. So let me go ahead and share this out and share this out. And you guys do it as well. Share out, share out, share out. Okay. Share. All right. And welcome everyone who is coming in. Welcome. It is raining where I am. And it's the cold type of rain too. So I hope that it's not as cold where you are, but yeah, it is it's raining, and it's the cold rain. It is the cold rain. All right, I'm sharing out, share out, share out, share out. All right, great. Hello, the strategy.academy, and hello, cruise_connections. Hello, everybody. We're about to go ahead and get started. First things first, hello, Joyful Math. Everyone who is new to my page, I am Jamila Bashir, aka the IEP Coach. Okay, so yes, that is me. Special ed is my thing. Hello, overwhelmed to organize. Hello. So, as the IEP coach, I support principals with their special education teachers so that way they can stay in the field and stay, in their positions because, they get burned out. So I come in, I help SPED teachers with balancing being a case manager and being a teacher, because that is a lot. And a lot of people don't know, as a special education teacher, you are a case manager and you're a teacher. You're wearing two hats, and that's a lot. So I come in, we provide group coaching as well as high quality professional development. And we also have some digital products as well. We have ebooks regarding the IEP. We have an IEP course. Hello, Kauthar. And we also have our special education teacher group coaching program. So yes, we have a lot of things. And we have our webinars. We have a webinar tonight. Hello, Blessed Beyond Measure. Hello. We have webinars tonight. We have the parent edition of 5 tips to prepare for an IEP meeting. That is tonight. That is at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then we have the teacher edition one tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's not too late to register. So if you're driving, you're out, and you can't get to the registration form, you can just DM me your email and I can email you the Zoom link. Hello. Okay, is this Letty Green? I apologize if I mispronounced your name. Assalamu alaikum. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So you all saw the reel that I posted. It was a humorous one. So it basically had teachers call me and say, "Oh, Miss Bashir, oh, so-and-so, we think that Bobby needs counseling added to their IEP." And then my face turns and it says, "Here we go again." Of course, the audio was much more dramatic. So of course, in the caption, I said that is a big no-no. And it is a big no-no. You cannot just add services to an IEP. That is a huge no-no. You don't do that. You cannot do that. Okay? Put no in the comments. That is a no. No. You cannot do that. Hey, Ashley. Thank you for joining. And hey, Kima. I hope I pronounced your name right. Walaikum assalam, Kima. I hope I pronounced it right. Put no in the chat. That is a huge No. Okay? So let me tell you the process. Okay? Huge no. All right. Yes, huge no. Overwhelmed to organize. Okay. So I'm going to tell you how I would respond to those teachers, and then I'm going to tell you the process. Okay. So when teachers, assalamu alaikum, Alima. So when teachers come to me and they say, oh, we think this student needs counseling, or this student needs some speech, or this student needs a para, my first response to them is, where is your data to support that? Where is your data to support why this student needs this service? Hello, Dr. Scott. Hey, Tasha. Because you have to use the data to drive if you need to increase a service, decrease a service, or even add services. So that is my first response. So when teachers do come to me, this happens way too often, I ask them, what data do you have to support that? And if they have no data, I explain there is a process to adding services to an IEP. First off, if you feel that a student is having trouble, social emotional trouble in your classroom, and it is starting to interfere with their education or that of others, have you reached out to the guidance counselor? Have you reached out to the counselor at all? Because that's your first go-to. Go to the guidance counselor, because if you're seeing these issues in a classroom, you should be going to the guidance counselor to check, so that way they can check in with their student. And then the guidance counselor can then have sessions. And I'm not saying adding services. I mean, like checking in with that particular student just to see, is it really an issue going on here or anything like that? Now, just because the guidance counselor checked in with the student, that doesn't mean like, oh, right away, oh, that means they're getting counseling. No. And depending on your school, you may have a school psychologist at your school, you may have a guide or a school clinician at your school. That's the teacher's first go-to. Okay. Then if the school psychologist or the school clinician feels that okay, let me just check in with the student for a couple of weeks, they're just going to check in just to see, like, okay, is it a need? Is this a major need? And they're also going to be checking in with the teachers to see, like, oh, is this a major need? How are they doing in the classroom? Are you still seeing the issues you were seeing before? Because we have to collect data. It is not just a week of data or a day of data. Hi, Resilient RDN. Is not just a day of data. No, we have to have weeks of data, at least 6 weeks of data to support, you know what? This student is having some social emotional issues. What is the next step that we can do? Now, it's not an automatic, oh, let's add counseling to the IEP. It's a process. Some schools have a RTI process, response to intervention. Some schools have MTSS, multi-tiered support system. You have tier 1 interventions, which are interventions that are done in the classroom with the teachers and the help of the assistant principals. And then tier 2 is more intense interventions where you'll have school clinicians, school psychologists, whoever handles the SPED at your school, your special education supervisor, everyone, that's like tier 2. That's when you do some more. You may be doing a check-in, check-out program. You may have some intervention periods for the student if it's an academic concern. All of that is in like the tier 2 level, where they may get a particular intervention. They could get at-risk counseling. It could be a check-in, check-out program. It could be academic intervention groups for reading or for math. That's in like the tier 2. I know some people will say 4 weeks. 4 to 6 weeks is a good amount of time. I say 6 weeks because that's just over a month. And that is an ample amount of data that you can have to support. Yes, this student may need additional support, or no, the student does not need that additional level of support. Assalamu alaikum, Sharia. How are you? And welcome. So it's not teachers cannot just say, oh, I think this kid needs a counselor, or I think this kid needs a speech because I can't understand what they're saying. No, there's a process. You have to go through channels to get additional support. You have to have data to back up, weeks of data to back up why we will recommend an additional level of service or an additional level of support. Now, if the student, oh, Dr. Scott says that I was about to go into that next, Dr. Scott. Now, also on top of that, the parent has to be okay with adding that additional service. You want to make sure you keep the family in the loop. So if you're saying, oh, the student's having social emotional issues at school, definitely you should reach out to the parent just to say, oh, have you seen this at home? I'm seeing this in the school. Again, this is not adding, you cannot just add it to a kid's IEP. That is not how it works. Dr. Scott said, let's not forget to keep the family in the loop so that we are all on the same page about our scholar. Absolutely. You always want to keep the parent in the loop. Parent, guardian, whoever is taking care of this student, you want to keep them in the loop. So again, if you a teacher are seeing these issues in the classroom, definitely reach out to your school psychologist or your school clinician, and then also reach out to the parent as well, because it's possible it could be something going on at home. It could be parents could be separating. It could be a student may have experienced a recent death in the family, or a pet, or let's say a student sibling is going off to college and they're not going to see that sibling anymore. That could be affecting them. So it could be something that happened at home, and they may just need a check in. So we have to be very careful that we don't jump the gun and say, oh, I have to do counseling. Oh my God, they need that. And it's like, no, we need to see, is this even an issue? Is this even interfering with the student's education? That's what you have to do. You have to see, is this interfering with their education or the education of others? So their peers, is this interfering with them? In order to start gathering the data for whatever services they need. So again, for example, I'll give you a quick example. I had a student when I was still in the classroom. She was exhibiting a lot of emotional and behavioral behaviors in her classes and just everywhere. So I started to collect data from her teachers, and I did that for a certain amount of weeks. And I even spoke with the behavior specialist at my school. I was constantly keeping her up abreast of what was going on with this particular student. So when I had enough data, I made the recommendation, of course, and also I was including her parents too, that I was making this recommendation. So when I make the recommendation, I have my weeks of data, and then when I make the recommendation, because it's a process, the behavior specialist and my supervisor say, oh, is the parent aware? Because you don't want to recommend something and the parent has no idea that their child is having these particular issues and you did not contact them at all. Just think about that for a second. If that was you, the school did not contact you at all about your kid having particular issues, and then they want to recommend a service for your kid. You'd be upset. I know I would be upset. Hello, love like mine. I know I would be upset. And so you have to be mindful. This is why you always need to keep parents in the loop, so that it's not a shock. So that way they feel that this is a team effort, and you're not just throwing something else at their kid and saying like, oh, there's something else wrong with their kid, because that's not. We want to make sure that we give students all the support that they need. We don't want to give more support than what's needed. So after I had the recommendation, filled out the form, and I notified the behavior specialist, I let the behavior specialist know that yes, the parent is aware. So when the behavior specialist called the parent already knew what Miss Bashir was already doing. The parent already knew about the behaviors, knew everything. So then when the behavior specialist is making a recommendation for when they want to see the particular student, and we add that particular service to the IEP, it was a smooth transition. The reason it was a smooth transition is because I followed the process. I did not just jump to add services to a student's IEP. I collected weeks of data. I immediately contacted the parents so that they were aware of what was going on at school with their child. And once I had enough data, I let the parent know, like, are you okay with this? I really think this would benefit the student having this support at school. And if you choose to get support outside of school, that is fine too. But I really feel they need support in the school. And another thing that I'll say that helped me with that situation is because I had a good rapport with the parent. The parent knew, she knew how I worked. She knew how I worked with her son. So when I came to her with this, it wasn't, she didn't feel like, oh, you know what, Miss Bashir is just trying to keep my son down. She's just trying to push my son in these services. She didn't feel that at all because she knew how I was. She knew how I worked. So it's very important to also build that rapport with parents as well. Keep them in the loop at all times. All right, we have some comments. Jamira said, Kiana Miller. I hope I said that right. Kiana, did I say your name right? I hope I said it right. She goes live all the time talking about IEP. I know you basically a pro now, but you may learn new things. Okay. And Kiana, put in the chat. Let me know when you go live so I can view your lives. And we have the literacy lady. Some teachers are intimidated to call parents because they feel like they are going to get yelled at. What advice would you give a first-year teacher who was a little nervous to make these types of calls? I think that is all first-year teachers, and even some teachers, because sometimes when I was in the classroom, even though I've been in the class for years, I'm just like, sometimes like, oh, how is this parent going to respond? You're not sure. So what I suggest is definitely, if you need to like just get your mind frame together of what you're going to say and why you are contacting that parent, just remember your why for calling, that you want to keep them abreast of what's going on with their child. So definitely when you call, you have to, well, I'm just going to tell you this, you're going to be making phone calls all the time. Just as a teacher, you're going to be making phone calls. So it may be uncomfortable right now, but then it won't be so uncomfortable, because there are going to be times you're going to have uncomfortable conversations with parents. All conversations are not going to be, I'll just say, peaches and cream. They're not. So first, when you, I would say email the parent to see when is a good time to give them a call, because they can let you know when they will be available to answer. And you can just, when you call them, just say who you are, how are you, and just say, I wanted to update you about something that was something that's going on in school with your student, and just let them know. Because if this is something that's not like where a parent will feel alarmed or anything like that, you can even say, please don't be alarmed. Is nothing that, just explain that to them so they don't think the worst when you call them. Because parents, a lot of times, they just get phone calls about what their child is doing wrong or what their child is not doing. So let them know, like, oh, I'm just calling just to update you about your student, and then go from there. Like, keep it light, as you are calling the parent. Always introduce yourself. Remind the parent who you are. I'm not sure if this student is in middle school or not, because they have multiple teachers. So yeah, go from there. Definitely get the parents' availability. And then when you call, hello, I'm Miss Bashir. I'm so-and-so's teacher or advisor. I just wanted to, do you have a moment to speak? They may say yes, or they may just be doing something. And you can then just say, okay, I just wanted to touch base with you about, we're just going to say Johnny. I just want to touch base with you about Johnny real quick. And you can just say, talk about a glow, talk about what that student is doing very well. Start with that. So-and-so, Johnny is doing really well. He's made great improvement with this, blah, 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 this. I really see him working hard, blah, 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 blah. And then you can just say, I just have one concern. I'm noticing that this is happening. He is doing this when this happens. Like, if you have as much data when you're talking with the parents, so they know how often, if it's behavior related, how often is the behavior happening? What is happening before the behavior actually starts? That helps too, because that can help you pinpoint, XYZ. And then you can say, have you seen any of this at home? You can go from there. And then you can say, I've done this in the classroom to help, blah, 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 blah. And you can say what's working for you. And then you can ask the parent, hey, what have you tried at home? So that way they know that this is like a team thing. They're not alone. If they see the behavior too, you can share what you have been doing, and then they can share what they've been doing at home. because it may be something that you can do in the classroom. Okay. So, oh, I'm glad that was some good advice for you, the literacy lady. And let me see some other comments. Oh, Kiana, did I say your name right? Is it Kiana? I hope I did. Leave your IG handle your Facebook handle so I can follow you and tune into your live. Oh, great. I did say your name right. I'm happy. Okay. I would love to tune in your live. Put in the comments, or you can send me a Facebook message. Let me know when you do go live so that way I can support you on your platform too. So, yes. So, I have a webinar at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Is right after this live. So, if there's anyone who did not register yet and you would like to attend this webinar, this is the parent edition one. Tips to prepare for IEP meeting. You can DM me or Facebook message me. I don't want you dropping your email in this chat at all, because then I want you blaming me for somebody emailing you that you didn't expect to email you. Okay. All right. So you can send me your email, and I can just email you the Zoom link and the workbook. Okay. So that way you can join. So tune in. Thank you all for coming. Make sure you tune in next week for another episode of the Coaching Corner with the IEP Coach. And for those of you who did register for the webinar, I will see you in about, 8 minutes. So, all right, until next time, peace.